Alright folks, so in this video I want to talk a little bit about Baofeng antenna options that are available to you. This is not an exhaustive list of antennas that you could or should use. It really is more just about different antenna types and how you connect them to your Baofeng radio. I got a call from a buddy earlier today and he was asking some questions about using a mag mount antenna like this tram. This one actually currently is mounted to my beer fridge, but I took it off for this video. But he asked about using that on the roof of his car and then using the Baofeng from inside the car. And that got into a little bit of a conversation around adapter types and how you should hook that up. And while I was on the subject, I figured I would just make this video real quick. If you have any questions, just go ahead and post them below and I'll do my best to answer them. So this is a Baofeng UV5R. And this holds true for most, if not all, of the Baofengs, is that it uses what's called an SMA connector for your antenna. Specifically, it's an SMA male connector. You can see that pin in there. So that would mean for an antenna to fit natively on this UV5R, you would need what is called an SMA female antenna. Here is a Baofeng UV82, and then you can see that that has the SMA male connector as well. One of the things I wanted to point out, this radio is a Yaesu FT70D. That has an SMA female connector, so you can see the difference. That's the primary point that I wanted to get across in this conversation. Now this is the coax, whoops, we almost had an accident, that is coming from the tram antenna. And on here it has a male plug. It looks like it's got some crud in there. But it has this male plug, and that is called a PL259. You'll hear people refer to these as a UHF adapter. So if I want to make this fit onto a Baofeng, I can use an adapter like this. This is the female end, and we are having all kinds of difficulties. This is the female connector for UHF, and it's called an SO239. So I could quickly just connect these, well, maybe not quickly, connect these two up, and then I could go ahead and attach this to my radio. Now once you do this and everything's attached, this puts what is called stress on your antenna. So a lot of folks will use some sort of adapter cord to give you some stress relief or strain relief, and they'll look something like this. Actually, that is a female end, so I could just go ahead and I could screw that in there. And then what you see is that this cable is less rigid and will put less stress on this connection point, which could fail under load. You have to think about these SMA connectors are really meant to hold these smaller antennas. A lot of folks will call them a rubber duck antenna. I also want to talk about this type of adapter. It's SMA female to BNC. And what you'll do is you'll see a lot of folks who will put these on their radio, and that gives you a little bit of a base there, which helps with your stress relief. Some folks, and I did in the past, will use these types of BNC connectors. These are not good because it actually puts more stress on that connector, so you want to use one like this. Once you do that, you can attach antennas. This is it's called a signal stick. It's a very flexible antenna. If you get one, don't transmit with it bent up like that, but then you can just click that on real easy. And then maybe you get a BNC adapter for your tram antenna in your car, and then that way you go outside and you can just pop the top part of the BNC off and then quick connect it in there. Very handy. This is a BNC female connector. That side is the BNC male connector. A couple things to note. This is a Nagoya antenna, and it's actually a fake Nagoya antenna, but it works fine on the Baofengs. Here's another one. And people get a better antenna. It's a very typical thing for people to say, hey, I got a Baofeng, what's next? I want a better antenna. I do want to point out that these radios, while functional, aren't really the highest quality. And they have what's called a direct conversion receiver. And they're made with a little bit of cheaper, more budget parts. And as a result, what folks refer to as a front end on this radio is its receive capability. Sometimes will get overloaded by strong signals. Now, strong signal could be a UHF or VHF. This is the dual band radio, operates on UHF and VHF. signal that is close to the signal that you're sending and receiving on, or it could be something like an AM or an FM signal from a radio station or television broadcasting, something like that, can easily overload these. They're also susceptible to interference. So when you put a better antenna on a radio like a Baofeng, you increase the likelihood that you will overload the radio. A lot of folks say that the standard Baofeng rubber duck antennas attenuate or mute the signal that comes in a little bit by design to reduce interference on this radio. Now, depending upon what type of Baofeng you have and where and when you purchased it, you would likely have one of these two antennas. They often will have different antennas on them. That's just the way it is. Also wanted to point out, a lot of people will buy these little cheap antennas because you can just put them on there and it makes it a lot more compact. This was about $4 off of eBay. It's a knockoff diamond antenna. Here is the real diamond antenna, and this was like $30. There is a significant quality difference there. I would urge you to stay away from things like this. Anyhow, that's it. If you have any questions, post them below. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment, click thumbs up, or subscribe. I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks.